Good morning, everybody. I'm Wendy Nystrom, your host with Environmental Social Justice, and I have my co-host 𝑗𝒊𝒏𝒈 today. So welcome back after a bit of a break. And today's guest is Miss Ann Lee Carpenter. She is the CEO and co-founder of Braid Theory. So welcome to the show, Ann.
Thank you very much. I'm really happy to be here.
Virtually. And so virtually, yes. I mean, this is actually the best format where we can be everywhere at once. Would you mind really simply explaining who you are, what you do, and how did you get involved in Braid Theory?
Okay, so who I am. So Ann Carpenter, CEO of Braid Theory. So just to start, our company is a vertically integrated venture ecosystem, I guess I would say. Basically, what we do is we work with engineering and science-led startups and scale-ups who have transformative solutions focused on all aspects of the blue economy. So as you mentioned, we run accelerator programs to help these companies grow and scale. We have a major event, which we'll talk about later. We do a specific consulting work around helping them prepare for grants and pilot projects. And our whole focus is getting these companies from the earliest ideation stage into the market. A lot of accelerator programs are focused really on getting VC funding as the end goal. Our goal is we want these solutions out into the market. We have global challenges that we're all looking at. And so everything we do is to help solve problems. How did I get into this is I live right next to the Port of Los Angeles. Our company is right here at 𝒊𝒕𝒕𝒍𝒆, which is the picture behind me. I'm there virtually today, although it stopped raining. But I moved to San Pedro to live on a sailboat. And my boat got covered with soot every morning because we are downstream. Well, at this point it was in Long Beach, but we are downstream of an open coke plant. I started getting involved by going to Harbor Commission meetings and learning about the environmental impact around ports. I used to take my son in a baby carrier to these meetings. This was more than 20 years ago, to try to understand about air quality, about water quality, about the impact of ports on our local communities, because traditionally ports are economic drivers in communities, but they also are, it's the noise and the pollution and the light pollution and the air and the water, and they have a huge environmental impact. So that's what I got involved just as a local citizen. I had a background in tech. I worked in the aerospace industry, spinning tech out of, that was developed for Department of Defense that had commercial application. And then I left that and started my own marketing and design firm. And one of my clients was a brand new incubator called PortTech, which was specifically to bring solutions forward to address some of these port challenges. And so I started there more from a marketing strategy and design and working on some of their events, but more and more I got back involved to the tech side at advising these companies. And then my co-founder was, and Jim Cooper was a entrepreneur in residence, also at PortTech, and he and I and a third person, we ended up saying, okay, well, we can take this to a broader blue economy, which wasn't even talking about blue economy at the time, but beyond just port technology. And we formed our company almost 8 years ago. Wow. So that's our origin story.
And awesome. I could say you're a Renaissance woman because you have done so much and so many very different things, but you've mentioned blue economy a few times. Could you explain that in a simple way, just so everybody will understand what exactly that means?
Okay, So blue economy, okay, think of it as an ecosystem which is looking to solve problems all related to ocean, marine, maritime sectors. So it encompasses technology that and market segments that include robotics, life sciences, shipping and logistics, even ag tech, energy, transportation, aerospace, fisheries and aquaculture, clean tech, because anything that is either kind of upstream from the ocean, traditional industries within the ocean, like ports and shipping, and also potential products and services that are derived from the ocean, such as pharmaceuticals, nutraceuticals, of food from the ocean. So it's very, very broad. It's cross-disciplinary. It's multidisciplinary. You look at enabling technologies. Like you looked a little surprised about aerospace, but even things like communication, underwater communication. There's a lot of technologies related to communications in space that might have applicability in deep sea as well. So you're looking at drawing. So what's so exciting about with us working in this blue economy, it's not just all about ocean exploration or marine science, but it's much broader, because we can look at these different industry sectors and draw from, technologies and resources from these adjacent sectors, and then focus them in ocean-related markets and industries.
Wow. Absolutely. And one of the things, just to throw a little data so people know, ports are an economic driver. We know this. But our oceans are extremely important to preserve, primarily because here's some data I've got. Ocean produces over half of the world's oxygen. So our oxygen that we're breathing every day, half of it comes from those oceans. So we need to stop polluting them and damaging them. And it absorbs 50 times more carbon dioxide than our atmosphere. So it's important to keep these things healthy. This is why we need what you do.
It's important. And it's also, when we look at climate change, right? We're looking at ocean currents are even changing. You look at ocean acidification and the warming of the ocean, that is risking and changing our food supply.
Yes.
Species, we have a huge species loss. More than 90% of the world's species are in the ocean.
Wow.
Yeah, no, it's true. And
we have a biodiversity loss that is accelerating at an unprecedented rate. So one of the things, so going back to the definition of blue economy, one of the things that we also have to think about is we're at a turning point in the ocean that people are seeing that there's resources, whether it's minerals and heavy metals for batteries, or whether it's pulling more seafood out of the ocean, or whether it's for desalination and for our water, or whether it's for our energy. All of these are great opportunities, but we have to look at, we can't keep thinking of an extractive approach. Yes. We have to think about a circular economy approach. We have to think about sustainability. We have to think about nature-based solutions. We have to think about how can we do it differently in the ocean than the way we've done a lot of our extractive processes and industries on land. And I think that, sorry?
I just said extraction is damaging, and I rudely interrupt Joel, so I'm sorry, Joel.
Well, no, what I was going to say is that I appreciate the approach of just saying, we know we need to do things now, but what's going to be the long-term effect? Because, we're dealing with now, we're living with the repercussions of things, but that train of thought wasn't there years ago as we started doing things. So, we're seeing what's happening on land, we're seeing what's happening in the ocean. So as we start talking about desalinization, we talk about the mining, it is about, okay, that's great, we need it now, but what are we going to do in 15 years? We don't know what the repercussions are going to be. So, we can try to plan for them, but there's no way to fully predict because something always happens. Money gets in the way.
So one of the things, and I don't want to go down too much of a rabbit hole with any of these particular industries or the damage, but one of the things that's also then critically important is the industry itself of understanding the ocean, right? Is having more tools, underwater robots, sensor technology, platforms where scientists can share data. All of these, there's initiatives such as I was just recently at a conference, the World Ocean Summit in Lisbon, and was fortunate to be on a panel that there's an initiative funded by the Nippon Foundation called Back to Blue, which is looking at how to better even understand and analyze ocean pollution, not from plastics, but from everything from, DDT spills and PFAS, underwater munitions, all these different, chemical pollutions, etc. And even understanding where's the science behind it? What's the effect on these spills? What are the resources? What are the activities related to cleanup? Even understanding globally a resource of information.
Which
we know more about, the moon and Mars than we know about the deep sea.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because it seems almost like, and I could be completely wrong here, but it feels like what we've done is we've lived in a world where it's out of sight, it's out of mind. Like the moon is right there, Mars is right there. The ocean, that's that big thing over there. We don't know what it is. We don't know what's there. So, but now as we're starting to see about, the trash that's in the ocean, we're starting, over the past few years, we started hearing about the Great Barrier Reefs and all the different things that are dying. Everybody's kind of going, oh crap, what did we do? So that's kind of like, that's why I start thinking about the work that you're doing now. You're able to look at the mistakes and try to plan a way to move forward without repeating them. Hopefully we're not making new mistakes because that's always a possibility, but you know what I mean? It's like learning from the past in order to actually make things better for the future. Does that make sense? I think it's the best way.
True. It does make sense. There's a phrase like nobody sees the sea, right? I think another activity that was, pretty near and dear to our heart in Los Angeles is during COVID, as people switched from going on vacation and spending their dollars on restaurants and entertainment, etc., they bought stuff. Yes. Right. So we had this huge supply chain issue and congestion at our ports, and the ships were backed up and so on. And it also became part of this national and global conversation about goods movement. Yeah. And up until that time, nobody really thought about how their toilet paper was delivered to their house on Amazon Prime or whatever it might be, right? But then all of a sudden, it became people started asking questions about shipping and goods movement and decarbonization and what the role of, the environmental impact of shipping. And this kind of conversation wasn't even, when 10 years ago, nobody even thought about what logistics and goods movement and shipping even meant. Again, it was out of sight, out of mind.
Yeah, you're reminding me of the, which canal was it that got blocked by the boat? That
Suez Canal.
That's what I thought. So that kind of, so that kind of brought up the whole thing about shipping right there, about like, okay, wait, what? I don't get to get my pieces from here that I ordered? Like, so people
in a day.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, but then it's also when you start thinking about like things like oil spills, or things that happen on the oil rigs. We don't think about what's going on in the world until there's a disaster.
Yeah.
Right. But now when you take all of that kind of information and you bring, entrepreneurs are problem solvers. So our company is not policy. We are boots on the ground support of entrepreneurs who are solving these kinds of problems. So as these global stories are out there about blocks in the Suez Canal, or 100 ships in the port, or major oil spills, or so on, then you start going to the entrepreneurs and the problem solvers in the world and say, hey, you've got this tech that is predictive analytics around, I don't know, whatever it might be. How about, do you realize that ports and moving containers in and out of ports is a major complex problem that is a perfect kind of complex problem for an AI company? And you start marrying, and what we like to do with Braid Theory is then not only support the companies who are already in the space, but look in these adjacent industry sectors, right? We hosted a group of folks from the agriculture industry in New Zealand, and we got this whole conversation about aquaculture. And some of them were, New Zealand, of course, has had mussel farming for way longer than what we're doing here in California. But a lot of these folks came from the land side, and they were talking about some of the technologies and efficiencies and activities that they're doing to improve their using ag tech. And I'm saying, yes, and that's the same kind of, and then this woman said, like, oh yeah, this is exactly then what you're describing in aquaculture. This is exactly the same thing, right? There's parallels.
Yep.
So when it comes to business model opportunities for early stage companies in blue economy, we can draw from and say, okay, well, you have this technology that's a construction technology. It's got applicability for all. Did you realize all the port infrastructure, everything that is necessary on seawalls or this or that, right? And you start drawing parallels, and then that opens up a lot of entrepreneurs' eyes, and hopefully then starts drawing them into some of the kind of work we're doing and bringing them forward.
What are some of the because with Braid Theory, just so people understand, Braid Theory is all about weaving together people, technologies, entrepreneurialism, bringing everyone together to collaborate to get results. Can you discuss any particular projects you guys are working on within Braid Theory?
Sure. So I'll give you a perfect example of a company that, so there's a company called 𝑤𝒆𝒍𝒑𝒔 that came to us through our partnership with both the Canadian government and Metropolitan Water District. They came to an Alberta-based company that came to the US, I'm thinking some 5 years ago, maybe, as part of a Canadian water energy roadshow. What they had developed was a solution that used bacteria to identify arsenic in drinking water, and had developed a test kit that was a field test kit that you could do rather than taking samples, taking them back to the lab, doing an analysis. This is something you could do hands-on with a field test kit that a non-lab technician could do and test.
Oh, nice.
We looked at that, and knowing a lot of the issues around the ports, asked whether or not you could actually use this kind of technology to identify heavy metals in water. So industrial stormwater runoff, because we are, again, looking at, so many of these environmental issues around air and water around ports. I said, yes. So we worked with them to put together a proposal with the Port of San Diego to develop a a multi-chemical test kit to test for all the heavy metals that are coming from the tire and brake dust from all the port equipment moving around the ports. The port funded part of that. 𝑳𝒐𝒏𝒈 came through. The test kit has now gone through. It's been proven that 4 of the heavy metals that are coming forward, this is now moving forward to a product phase, and it's something then that the port, 𝒍𝒐𝒏𝒈, braid theory will look to move forward how to get that product out into the market. And it also then becomes something that right now in the state of California, industrial stormwater, there's reporting requirements. This could possibly be that next level of technology that improves the reporting. Just right now, individual companies have to go to a lab and they take samples in very specific ways. This is something that could be a leap in that understanding of the detection of the metals in the stormwater, and then can be more actively deployed to how to mitigate these heavy metals from going into the ocean. So
how fast is that turnaround time?
What's that?
How fast does that test, the turnaround time for that? Is it instantaneous or 24 hours?
Yeah. No, it's instantaneous.
A lot of labs
takes days to do it through a lab.
Yeah, but sometimes weeks through a lab.
Right. So this, again, these are not short-term projects, right? This takes time to go from.
What do you mean?
All right, it's just not snap, right? But when you think about it, it takes quite a bit of time to go from the technology that's developed for one application that has applicability there. You have the, you still have a lot of development and design, engineering, even some, continued scientific research.
The thing is, what I like though is that to do something like that, you're not looking to reinvent the wheel every time. You're just saying, how can we modify it to get it to work in this system? Or can it be modified to work in this system? That's huge to be able to do for these companies.
And it creates then new market segments for the companies to move forward. It allows them to be more investable. This company now has a major partner in Ginkgo Bioworks, which is a very large company in the synthetic biology space, and the company now is scaling quite quickly. Where it's not only being able to find parallels and to more rapidly deploy, but it also then helps the companies be more sustainable too, because there's more market opportunities. They can invest more into it. They're more attractive to VCs and other investors because it's not just a narrow segment, but there's a broader market opportunity for them as well. But when you're looking at these deep tech solutions, it's unlike a model that is a SaaS platform or something that can take months to deploy. We're talking many years from development to commercialization, and that's one of the things that is really, really challenging. We're not working with companies that are doing easy fixes, right?
Well, saving the planet's not going to be easy, but you're leading the way in doing it, and you're providing people with that, not only the roadmap, but you offer a lot of networking opportunities for people. So people who are in this space who want to know, how do I get this done? How do I do this? How do I find my people? I would love for
Right.
you to talk about that.
Well, thank you for teeing that up. So the way we actually, so one of the things that we realized is we've got to get all these people in a room. And we've, when I described what the blue economy is and how multifaceted it is how do you bring all these people together? How do you keep people out of silos? And traditionally, trade shows offer one aspect of getting things to the market, but that's really transactional buyers and sellers. You have also industry conferences where there's panel discussions and people get really understanding from the policy side and from the concept, but then what do you do with it? So what we developed is we have an annual event, Ignite 22, which is celebrating innovations and innovators that are shaping the 22nd century. And we bring all of these groups together, from the entrepreneurs, investors, policy folks, government, industry, in a highly curated event. This year is at May 4th, at 𝑗𝒒𝒂𝒎𝒊𝒏𝒈 at the Port of Los Angeles, which is the space that's right behind me. And we just bring everybody in a room, and and the entrepreneurs are front and center. They're doing demos and exhibits all day long. We have a couple of panel discussions, but it's really to set the stage. One is about more of a thought leadership, future thinking about the sector, and the other one is from an investor perspective. And then the whole day is everybody gets together. It's about 1/3 from industry, 1/3 from the entrepreneur ecosystem, and 1/3 from academia and government, et cetera. 300 to 400 people, 60, 70, maybe 80 entrepreneurs exhibiting this year. And it's really that way to have those deeper networks, those deeper connections. And it's proving to be very effective. Last year we had 5 ports represented, plus many others in the ecosystem. We have folks from utility. It's an international event.
Oh,
so cool. We do get companies that are from around the world. Last year, Finland, Canada, UK, companies that are coming in to say, okay, I really want to see how my solution can be applicable in Southern California. So, yeah.
That's awesome.
And that's fantastic. I love the fact you have so many people displaying and showcasing, because we can all talk each other to death until we start seeing people doing what they're doing in the event. I love the inventors and entrepreneurs. We interview a ton of those on the show. It's so unique, some of these ideas that people have, and problem solving, as you said. These are the problem solvers. So the service you guys are providing with putting all of this together, and that's on May 4th, you said, right, at the 𝑗𝒒𝒂𝒎𝒊𝒏𝒈 facility?
May 4th. At 𝒒𝒂𝒎𝒊𝒏𝒈 at the Port of Los Angeles. And if you just go to our website braidtheory.com or ignite22.com, both will get you to the same place, that there's information about the event. Or, of course, Wendy, feel free to share my contact information through.
Oh, absolutely. No, I'll be highlighting and linking you all over the place.
Yeah. All right. And we hope to see both of you on May 4th.
That would be awesome.
That would be awesome.
In fact, you could probably even do, if you'd like, do a roving segment of interviewing some of the entrepreneurs and doing some of the demos. We could arrange that as well.
Jay Leno on the street.
Absolutely. So, yeah. What else can I tell you?
Just, I guess closing statements. What you guys are doing is wonderful. You're bringing all of these industries together, teaching people, educating people, but also providing a solution. You are providing the platform to honor these solutions that people are doing. So thank you for that. Just thank you for thinking about it. Thank you for getting involved. And it all started with you being on a boat and saying, why am I covered in soot every day? People don't realize that is so damaging to lungs and health and longevity. And people who live around ports generally, are disadvantaged communities. So you were just social justice aspect already obvious, but the environmental aspect is huge. And then we're bringing in, you know, entrepreneurs and governments to actually get this done.
Yeah. And I think what I would like to say to anybody who's listening on this, especially from the entrepreneur side, is, you know, the ocean is a resource. It's an opportunity. There's challenges around it. But don't, you know, so often people say, oh, but I'm not a scuba diver, or I've never been, or I don't live on the coastline, or whatever. That example that I gave you is a company in landlocked Canada, Alberta, right?
Yeah.
So the solutions can come from anywhere. The entrepreneurs working on this is look at what you're doing and the kind of challenges you're solving. And I would say that there's probably an intersection with the blue economy. Ports are cities in and of themselves. Smart city type technology is perfect for port environments. Everything, you know, they're highly concentrated ecosystems that might be, you know, manufacturing in cities and logistics, you know, so think about what you're already doing on land, and there's probably applicability touching blue economy.
And if you don't think there is, they should contact you to find out.
Absolutely.
Full
Absolutely,
circle.
Joel. Full circle.
That's
Thank
why
you.
I love Joel. Joel's like the brain trust. He thinks of these things. That's what I love about him. Yeah, Yuki, it's true. But on that, Anne, thank you so much for joining us today. Love everything you're doing with Braid Theory. And please, guys, please check out the Ignite 22 event. I think it'll be a wonderful opportunity for people to learn more about what Braid Theory does and the technology that will be coming. This is all very important for us to get to those climate goals that we seem to be a little bit lacking on lately. So on that, I'm Wendy Nystrom, your host with Environmental Social Justice, and my co-host Joel Vendette. Again, Anne Carpenter, Braid Theory, thank you so much for joining us today. Really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. I hope happy to come back anytime.
Awesome.
Absolutely. You know, I'm going to take you up on that. We're gonna talk right before you guys have your Ignite 22 conference, and we're going to just hype that thing up. So we will see you soon.
All right.
Guys, take care.
Thank you so much. Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.